Weenie Hut Jr. to the wall in like a deep squat. For fuck's sake. I've got a hunch. And no, Scooby-Doo, we don't have a lead on a mystery. I'm talking a spinal protrusion, kyphosis, Dowager's hump, buffalo hump, tech neck, piss poor posture. The beast goes by many names, but however you want to spin it, I've got one and I would like to not to have one. I'm not gonna lie, there are some aesthetic reasons why I would prefer not to have one. You know, like I admit to feeling self-conscious on particularly hunchy days to wear my hair up or to get any kind of shirt with any kind of back detail that would draw attention to my hunch. But of the utmost concern, it flat out hurts. And I'm willing to bet the longer that I leave it unaddressed, the more pain I will experience in this region. Now I think it's probably important to understand the problem if we're going to attack the problem. So I googled it and it says a Dowager's hump happens as a result of the weakening of muscles around your thoracic spine. And because those muscles weaken, other muscles have to compensate for the weak muscles, which puts the compensating muscles into overuse and strain. And it says right here, if left untreated, a person with a Dowager's hump will begin to have pain in their shoulders and neck. And that's where I currently am. And also, over time, their chin will move closer and closer to their rib cage. And the end result can be spinal degeneration. Lovely. So I kind of like want to nip it in the bud. So I came up with a plan of attack. I came up with like 4 main areas to focus on over this amount of time to see if it can improve my posture or my hunch or the pain in general. First up, we've got stretching. I have boobs and a belly, and that in combination with gravity is just kind of slowly hunching me over more and more, I think. I don't know. And the fact that I hate working on core, but that's in a different thing. So the goal is to stretch, open up the rib cage, bring back the shoulders, posture shit, okay? Second thing, of course, is strengthening. It said it right there in the description. You gotta work on those weak muscles so they're strong enough to hold your ass up. Number 3 is massage. Kind of makes sense to make your muscles pliable that you're working on, especially if they're like constantly tensed up and under a lot of strain. You wanna like let those buddies relax, you know what I mean? And number 4, and probably the hardest thing, is mindful posture. That's gonna be things like remembering to sit up straight while I'm working, and I got a few devices to kind of help with that I'm gonna try out along the way. Okay, so let's assess this hunch, get some before pictures, and then that way we can compare them to after pictures that I will eventually take. That way we can see if what I'm implementing is actually helpful. So we're in something a little bit more hunch revealing. Let's take a look at her. I'm gonna stand as straight as possible, like shoulders back, head up, fully erect. And I can't really see if I am filming my hunch well, but we're just gonna do a full 360. Stiff as a board, girl. And see if we can't get like some angle that is highlighting the hunch. Ooh, she's very visible in that one. There she is. Okay. So that's our starting point. There she is in all of her glory. Kind of the other thing is, along with like muscles compensating for your poor posture, your body also slaps on some fat back there to kind of beef it up. Cause like every like inch your head is forward, there's like so much more pressure on your neck. I forgot what it said, like maybe 5 pounds of pressure per inch or something. I would have to double check those numbers. It doesn't really matter, I just know that it causes strain. But because a lot of the bulk of it is fat, like don't get me wrong, there's some bone in there too, but because some of it is fat, I'm thinking like weight loss might help the appearance part of the hunch. So I don't know how much it's gonna visually go down, but again, we'll do like the side by side at the end of this and we will see. Okay, so a part of the intervention that I have compiled in my head based on various TikToks that have been shoved at me through the algorithm. I don't know how the FBI knows that I have a hunch, but they know, and they're feeding me hunch content. But over time, I've accumulated like a little regimen in my head for hunch protocol. And part of that regime, if you will, is going to include laying on foam rollers for an extended period of time. I've got 2 here. We've got Weenie Hut Jr. and the big boy. The idea is just to like wedge these beneath my back, you know, not at the same time, but one or the other, and kind of coax my spine into becoming a normal shape. This one I absolutely love. Easy Breezy Beautiful. Steven brought it from his house and I have commandeered it, and also Mavis. I don't know if you could tell by these little dog gnaw marks, but she has also partaken in this foam roller. This one is great and I use it for all my foam rolling needs. And it's good under the back as well, but the problem is like this kind of gets in the way of like your shoulder blades being able to go back. So I will be using this one on weenie days when I can't take the heat. This is the heat. As innocent as this thing may look, the little nubbins really dig into the sides of your spine. It just kind of cradles the whole thing right in there. But because the length of it is so short, it allows your shoulder blades to just sit and open. I'm going to show you how I lay on these things in just a moment. But because I have trouble sitting still anyways, let alone when I am in physical discomfort, I figured that I'm going to pair this activity with a sponsor of today's video, which is Headspace. If you guys didn't know, Headspace happens to be one of my favorite apps. They are a mindfulness and meditation app, and also they helped me through one of probably the worst spells of debilitating anxiety that I've ever gone through. So big fan. And I've been a subscriber on my own since August 2022. So while I'm laying on these medieval torture devices, I am either going to be listening to a meditation, a guided meditation, or Headspace also has podcasts. One of my favorite right now is Radio Headspace. It's like these mini blurbs on a wide variety of topics. It's anything from managing and moving through grief to do our dreams even mean anything? It's like just exploring a lot of different topics, and it's usually like 5 to 7 minutes long. But I don't know if I could sit on the foam rollers for 5 to 7 minutes, so you have the option to toggle the meditations from like 3 minutes all the way up to 20, maybe 30 minutes. I don't know. I've never done a 30-minute meditation. I usually cap out at like 10. So we're gonna start at 3 minutes and then see if we can't like work our way up, because it's gonna be hard. Oh, they also have like these little like quick minute-long breathing meditations, so I might use that as a way to time some things, because not only am I going to do like the foam roller stuff, I'm also going to be holding static stretches for a time period. I love their little breathing meditations. The animations are so cute on this app. So I guess let's quit talking about it and let's do it. Okay, the idea is to get this thing under your spine. Oh, I don't know if the camera picked that up, but my Dougie. Go Dougie. I don't know if the camera picked that up or not, but my spine just cracked like all the way up. That was nice. Hold on, let me just melt down here and then I'll start my meditation. That's the sweet spot. Let us begin.
We might feel miserable about a situation on one day, and yet be able to laugh at it on another. In such a situation, it's clearly the mind that presents the biggest challenge to our happiness.
Okay, so apparently, I saw this on one of those chiropractor videos. You're supposed to roll off of it. I actually feel really good. I think combining the stretch with the meditation is kind of a game changer. I mean, like I always feel pretty good after meditation just because it kind of, I don't know, I'm typically a pretty anxious person, and the fact that I'm always thinking about the future and all these things that have the potential of happening, and then the mindfulness practice just kind of puts you in the present. So it's just been like a really integral part of my whole thing. But if you're interested in trying out Headspace for yourself, if you click the link in the description or you scan this QR code on screen right now, Headspace is going to give y'all a 60-day free trial to try out the app, see for yourself. For me, I started seeing differences in how I'm perceiving things within like 2 weeks. And I think for anybody, even if you're not experiencing anxiety or stressed or depressed or whatever else, it's always good to practice mindfulness, and it bleeds into your life into unexpected ways where it's super helpful. Anyways, this thing is pretty good and bad at the same time. I just thought it was kind of funny how, while searching for a yoga video to correct my posture, I was sitting there really exhibiting poor posture. Yoga was kind of a no-brainer for attacking the hunch. I mean, dynamic stretching and strength building, come on. Beneficial for so many reasons. If you're wondering where such a magical room came from in my house, I cleaned out what was once a storage room and threw everything that was in it in another room. which I will never show you. And I made a yoga cubby for myself, complete with a metric shit ton of twinkle lights and a door to shut the animals out. Which, yes, it is endearing when they want to be by me, but they also don't realize the peril they're in of being squashed if my ass loses its balance. But I want to start practicing yoga again more regularly because not only is it good for improving posture, but flexibility is pretty awesome for your general well-being as well. I realize that I haven't done yoga in a hot minute. I feel like I have not stretched my body fully in years. I don't know if it's just because coming off of the tail end of a sickness where I developed costochondritis, which is just like the inflammation, swelling, stiffening of like bullshit in between your ribs. But I was primarily searching for like heart opener, chest opener yoga. So it's a lot of like that motion. And I was struggling, but it felt really good to like get some stretches in. I'm gonna kind of focus on those types of yoga routines. Maybe not every day, but like 3 times a week would be pretty easy. It definitely wasn't a super intense routine. It was just like my body did not want to contort that way. But also another thing is I feel like I can't breathe as well, and apparently if you're like hunched forward, you're like not letting your lungs expand as much as you could potentially if you had better posture. So potentially fixing your posture, fixing your hunch could help your breathing as well, which I need because now I am the proud owner of an inhaler. Okay, I'm going to try to take you through a couple of the exercises that I'm going to be doing to correct this hunch. And I barely know how to do them, so take this with a grain of salt. The first one is kind of like a stretch, kind of an exercise hybrid. You put your back like as flat as you can to the wall, your lower back. You kind of have to like push into it. But arms down to your side, palms to the wall, and then just bring the double chin in. And you just feel like this massive like stretch all through like the upper, like the thoracic vertebrae. It just feels really good. Now this next one is actually an exercise. They're called wall angels. You want to go up to the wall in like a deep squat kind of fashion. And then, Mavis, please. I know, this is crazy. I'm on the floor. It's nuts. Okay, and then you put your arms 90 degrees like cactus arms up to the wall. Try to keep your hunch to the wall. And then you're just gonna slowly slide your arms up. And it's harder than it looks. And take a breath out and slide them back down. Trying to keep your arms like to the wall at all times so it's like a snow angel kind of motion. But you want to do that slowly. And just like another kind of stretch thing. Elbows to the wall. Oh, everything cracked. Then just like lean into that and you feel like this whole area just opening. Okay, so it has been officially 1 week since we began hunch training. So I figured we would do a little bit of a check-in. And don't mind the guinea pigs, they're going to be making quite a ruckus in the background because I have not given them their morning cucumber yet. So if you hear something squealing like it's dying, it just wants a cucumber. I'm sore. So far it's not the same kind of soreness as when I'm straining my neck. I mean, I'm sure that's still there because let's believe that habit hasn't fully changed. But it's more like a muscle soreness, like, you know, when you haven't used a muscle in quite a long time and then all of a sudden you're using it, that kind of soreness. Also, not gonna lie, a little bit tender because I've been laying on that thing with the nubbins that poke into my back. And I can't really tell if it's feeling better or not because it just kind of feels like I am hurting it in a different way. Like, it's not to the point where I'm like, oh, I injured myself, but it's like, I don't know, the same thing when you, like, do a leg workout and then you're sore after. It is weird, though, because I've gone to the mirror after, like, a session of, like, working on it, and I'm like, oh my god, it's gone. It feels like it's gone. Then I look in the mirror, and she's still there. So, like, we have, like, a ghost hunch situation going on, where it feels like it's going down, but it's not appearing to. I don't know if that will change, but just a little update. The stretches, the targeted exercises, and the foam roller, all great stuff. But when I am doing a task, I can only focus on that task. I am completely unaware of what my body is doing. Like, Steven makes fun of it a little bit because, you know, I'll be having a conversation with him and he's like, what are you doing with your hands? I'm just over here like fiddling with something, tearing something up, and I'll be like, I was not even aware that I was doing that. Same goes vice versa. If I am focusing on something and doing something and Steven's talking, just a whisper in the wind, girl. No one is hearing him saying anything. But that being said, my job requires me to sit here editing for hours at a time. A lot of my newfound hobbies require me to sit. Like, I recently took up crochet and then I ended up sitting there hunched over trying to make a crocheted triceratops and wrecked my back from like sitting in a C-shaped position for, girl, I don't know how long. But it was long enough to make me regret taking up crochet. The point is, I'm not going to trust myself to sit here and like all of a sudden be mindful of what my spine is doing. It's just not going to happen. So I went ahead and purchased 3 different posture correcting devices to test out and see if any of them work, if any of them are like realistic in me slapping on my body and wearing. And I kind of feel like using posture correcting devices is a little bit like, I don't know necessarily if I want to do that or not, because it's like just forcing you into the correct position rather than your muscles strengthening or whatever. And I don't want to rely on these things, but at the same time I'm thinking, okay, like I'm doing these exercises, doing these stretches, but if I'm spending 5 minutes a day working on my posture, but the remaining of the 24 hours I'm hunched over like the hash slinging slasher from SpongeBob, you know what I mean? Like, the math ain't mathin'. So I'm feeling like this would be a decent way to kind of just train my body to be like, you could be upright and still work. You don't have to be shaped like the letter C when you're editing videos, girl. You can do it. So I figure we throw in a little bit of a Pomodoro method. 20 minutes, work sesh, each device, and then we test it out. I got all of these shits off Amazon. Let's be honest. Where else are you gonna find posture correcting devices? I do not know. Let's go biggest to smallest as far as packaging. This one by far is the most substantial. It even has what feels like a metal rod going down the back. Okay, it took an embarrassingly long time to backpack my way into this thing. But now all we have to do is tighten these bad boys. And that is the look to the first device. I don't know how comfortable it is. Like I said, metal rod in this bitch. But we're gonna give it 20 minutes. We're gonna try it out. We're gonna see how straight my posture is. I feel like really booby. It's just like pushing everything forward, just like, oh, apologies. My back is really sweaty after this one. I felt like it kept me upright, but on the same token, it's not very realistic as far as like wanting to put on, wearing every day, you know, kind of thing. But this one is pretty heavy duty. Next, we are going to try this one. Like, it was definitely the cheaper option. It's pink. It's a little less intimidating. It's more of like a dog harness than a bulletproof vest. It does not have the metal rod in the back. Instead, it has just like a thicker material. So you put it on in the same way. Just a backpack situation. That shit's rolled up in there, isn't it? For fuck's sake. Something about this one is giving very strong child leash vibes. This one doesn't really feel like it's doing anything, but let's put it to the test. Okay, the second one sucked. Now I'm going to be trying this necklace thing. I'm not really sure how this works. Don't know if it zaps me or what. Well, I can't use this one.
Why?
Because it requires you to have bought a device
Of course
that
it does.
that it plugs into.
Oh my god.
It's not just this.
So it does zap you. Because it says don't use with pacemaker, so it must zap you.
We'll never know.
Are you gonna get the other piece or?
So of the two posture correctors, the Kevlar vest thing was definitely the best. The pink one, don't waste your money. But honestly, both are so uncomfortable, I do not see myself opting to throw them on. So ideally, this would probably be the best option. I don't know because I can't test it out because I did not purchase the $80 device that you were supposed to that came with it. That's probably on me for not thoroughly reading the item description or how it works before buying it, but I digress. I'm still feeling a little bit of soreness from doing the exercises and stuff, but that's expected, but not as much as I was like the first week. Just feeling like I'm able to stand up straighter with not as much effort, which is like the goal. Okay, it's the goal. Also before, like even when I was like standing up my straightest to show you guys my hunch, I remember feeling like a little bit sore trying to stand straight that long, which was crazy. Like it was just super uncomfortable, and now it kind of just snaps into place a little better. I wish I had a more eloquent way of saying that, but the muscles are muscling. I realize I haven't really spelled out exactly the plan I'm following because I largely have been making this one up as I've been going along. But roughly, here it is. Every single day, I lay on the foam roller and meditate for about 5 minutes. Also every day, wall angels, probably about 3 sets of 10, and the elbow wall stretch. I usually do these ones on downtime, like when I'm waiting during cooking, because it's easy to just find a blank space on the wall and do. Around 2 to 3 times a week, I pop on a heart opener yoga flow. There are so many on YouTube. I have worn the bulletproof vest a couple more times, but I am not religious about it at all. That thing is uncomfortable, but it does keep your back straight. And as far as massage goes, I feel weird about filming someone rubbing my hunch, but whenever Stevie feels like punching my hunch, which is not a euphemism, I welcome it. And it does help because it is not city back there, girl. So much tension. Sorry, Jenny. This is why I didn't want you to be in here. It has been 21 days of working on my hunch. What have we learned? First of all, my back pain caused by my hunch has substantially subsided. It has been replaced by normal workout muscle soreness. And the bright side of that is that pain will lessen the more that I train that muscle. So, no worries there. Also, the top of my thoracic spine is way more clicky. Like I notice like anytime I adjust my posture or bend a certain way, it pops. And I don't know if that is a good thing or a bad thing, but it doesn't hurt. It's just more mobile. I don't know, it feels fine. I did also notice that I feel more stronger and it's easier to be upright and it's easier to like actually hold a decent posture. But now to the comparison, the before and after, the bread and butter. Did my hunch go away? I think it went down. No, barely at all. It does feel like less hard to the touch and not as protrudy, but it's not really apparent yet in the side by side. So that leads me to believe that the appearance of it is kind of dependent on the weight loss factor, which I did lose weight, okay? But I'll talk about that in a future progress video. So the thing about fat loss is you can't really choose where the fat gets lost from. Spot reduction is not a thing, unless of course you do lipo, but I don't know anybody out here lipoing their hunch. Lipo is scary to me in general. So I'm guessing that I'm kind of double hunched up on a Tuesday for the foreseeable future, you know, until we drop some lbs. But my main gripe, which was the pain, is way better. So the exercises, the stretches, the foam rollers, all that stuff does work. It's just not really apparent by looking at it. It does make perfect sense in my mind. It's kind of like if I were to train abs really, really hard, right? Like all I did was focus on abs, core, the whole thing. You know, a baby six-pack would probably happen, but you wouldn't be able to see it because I'd still have this layer of fat. The change would probably be more invisible and apparent in being able to hold a plank for 5 to 10 minutes. I don't know. But also, I've probably had this hunch for about 20 of my 31 years, so expecting it to go away over 21 days was kind of wishful thinking on my part, but I'll definitely keep this up and keep you updated as well in case it does go away eventually. But thank you so much for watching. Hit subscribe if you feel inclined, and remember that you could get 60 days free with Headspace if you click this QR code right here. But other than that, I just hope you're having a great day, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!